the curriculum and ensuring that this program actually starts.
Okay, you've defined it from the, I don't know, intellectual perspective. Dr. Chukwana, yes, specifically speaking, when we say, because she has defined it yet, I've understood, but what are some of those specific cities that we say occupational therapy? She's talked about getting, after the patients now, working with patients to acquiring skills and how to adapt and work. Yes, specifically, what are we talking about here?
Okay, so when we talk about occupational therapy, we're talking about enabling people to function independently in whatever environments they are. So I'll give you an example. If you had to have an accident today and you become wheelchair bound, you will not be able to come to work, because already as we were coming in, we saw there are no ramps to this floor.
Yes.
So that means we can't push you in a wheelchair to your office. So I think that's a real example there to use. So we enable people really to be doing what they are able to do despite having a disability. So it could be in a way of providing an assistive device like a wheelchair I've just mentioned. And sometimes it's also retraining skills that never developed because one has a condition that stops them from developing fully. For example, I can take a child maybe who's born with a brain damage leading to what we call cerebral palsy. I don't know if you're familiar with that term, but really it's brain damage which can just lead to any problems with functioning in many parts of the body, because the problems will really result from which area of the brain has been damaged. So let's take, for example, a child who cannot feed properly. Occupational therapy comes in to train the mother or the caregiver to prepare the meals that are appropriate for that child, to position that child properly as they feed them, and to make sure that that child feeds well and swallows well, and they don't choke, and they get also malnourished from the food. So it's really from the basic things to the more advanced things. Those are just two examples I picked, but there's a lot.
Let's take the case of a mother who needs to feed the child, who cannot feed well, and then you talk about brain damage. Brain damage, is it the children who look like they are imbeciles? Oh, I don't understand. I don't know what word to use.
You can see already from my non-verbal expression that I'm saying, what's an imbecile? So I guess you'd need to define.
I will not know. I mean, you understand what we're talking about? Yes,
yeah, I do. Yeah. So cerebral palsy really, I think what you are describing as an imbecile is Down syndrome. Those kids who look alike, everyone looks alike. But with cerebral palsy, they look different. And the damage to the brain will sort of determine what they can't do. So every child who has cerebral palsy has different needs depending on where the brain damage is and how severe it is. So that also means they even recover differently. Some will become fully functional, which means they can go to school, they can play with others, they can walk, they can speak, they can do all sorts of things that children without cerebral palsy will do. And others, because it's so severe, it's that child who would need a caregiver 24 hours a day for the rest of their life.
Now, you say, for the case of a child who cannot feed very well,
yes,
how do you get the mothers to know how to feed them, following what you just said?
All right, so it takes a lot of education.
So the mothers would need to enroll?
No, we're not talking about formal education. The mothers need to know more about the condition to understand the unique needs of their child.
Okay.
So if you look at your local foods, I love corn fufu, so I'll talk about corn fufu. If you want that child to enjoy corn fufu, it means you have to make it to a consistency that's soft enough for that child to be able to swallow. So I know the men in Cameroon would like the hard one, but for this particular child, you need to make the soft one so that they can also swallow it and also not choke as they feed.
We're talking about the Baptist School of Public Health. We want mothers to take care of their children. I've gone through, I see that there are different areas here. We have aquatic therapeutic exercise. Does that fall in line with what you guys are doing?
You mean hydrotherapy?
I don't know.
That's more like a physiotherapy domain.
Let me count. There's aquatic, there's assistive technology, there's autism, there's brain injuries, there's diabetes, driving and community plus mobility, environmental modification, there's feeding, eating, like what you just said. But now this has to do with the parents, right? Because they are the ones living with this, they are children with disabilities. I don't know. Are we talking about people with disabilities? Yes. Yes. But now, how do you get these parents to having this knowledge?
All right. So when we talk about occupational therapy, we look at that individual with a disability in their overall environment. So we are looking at you as an individual. We're looking at your caregivers. We're also looking at your physical environment. So it goes beyond just the person with a disability. So that's how the parents actually come in to be educated, because we know therapy sessions will be at most 1 hour, but this child is staying at home for the rest of their lives.
24 hours, yeah.
Yes, so it's actually important for that caregiver to understand their child more than we do, because they are the ones who are going to be staying with this child for the greater part of their life.
Occupational therapy. Now it's going to be introduced in the Baptist School of Public Health that is ongoing. That is operational in Mutengene out there in the southwest region of Cameroon by the Cameroon Baptist Convention. Tell me about the importance of this. Is Africa actually suffering? Do we have a handicap because we are not aware and making use of occupational therapy in our society?
I would say it's either the lack of the services, but also of the knowledge, because disabilities are brought about by so many different things. People may be born normal, for lack of a better word, but either due to a car accident, stroke, you've mentioned diabetes, and so many other diseases. These days, the world we are living in, non-communicable diseases are affecting people much more. But even we know very well on the African continent, diseases like malaria have a very significant impact, especially on pregnant mothers and the growing child. So if this mother gets malaria and she's pregnant and it's not treated, the chances of this malaria disabling the child or affecting the child are very high. That's why they need to go to antenatal clinics, make sure they are checked and in good health. So you find that at least to generalize on the African continent, the need is great because of the demands that come with our population, like poverty, so there are less nutritional access for children. That can cause a disabling effect. That's already from a nutritional perspective, from so many different other issues. I've mentioned the non-communicable diseases. So you find that there are very many aspects, even lack of access to healthcare. How many people can get access to a healthcare service or even afford it? So you find that they will stay ill for long, the disease gets chronic, and it becomes disabling to them. So because we are not just looking at children with disabilities or adults, occupational therapy looks at a wide range of people. We work with people in prisons, and it's not because they are disabled, but they're incarcerated, and the disability is not physical, but it might be mental. We work in psychiatric hospitals, we work in schools, we work in palliative care, which is people who have chronic illnesses like cancer and they are dying, but does that mean that they can't be rehabilitated? No, they still need a sense of meaning and purpose. Yes, so you find that we go in and sit with the patient and the relatives and then discuss whether what they would like to achieve.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, for anyone considering a future career in the healthcare industry, the options may seem endless. With so many career paths available, it can be hard to evaluate which profession aligns best with your personal and professional goals. Occupational therapy is one such a healthcare profession that has become popular in recent years due to the compassionate nature of the work. Many people are drawn to occupational therapy, careers and opportunities that they provide to make a positive impact in the lives of others. But what does an occupational therapist actually do? Now, let's look at the opportunities. Yes, how available are these opportunities in our communities today, especially in our context, Cameroon, Africa in general?
Let me just get your question right. You mean opportunities to practice as an occupational therapist? All right.
Because the services must be there now.
Yes.
If there are no needs, then yeah.
All right. So I've had the privilege of going to Yaoundé, Bamenda, Douala, and I stay in Mutengene. So just going around there, supervising students who are working in the community, doing the diploma in rehabilitation. I've actually seen an even greater need than what I had sort of projected based on the statistics that are available on the people with disabilities in Cameroon. So you find that at community level, there are basic things that we need to take care of. For example, access to the household that this person is staying. So it means an occupational therapist will go there and make the home environment accessible. In terms of maybe just maneuvering within your home environment to move from your kitchen to your parlor to your bedroom. That's an occupational therapist thing. They'll also make sure that they link you to other services within the community that will enable you to be independent in all you want to do. If we take, for example, a child who's born with a disability, they'll want to go to school, they'll want to go to university. So if we don't make this child access the services they need, it means we've sort of killed their dream just by them having their disability. So that's occupational therapy in the community. And then we also look at the schools. I had the privilege of visiting the special needs school in Bamenda. Already you can see that there are plenty of opportunities for occupational therapists there to practice in schools, because we are looking at children with special needs, different special needs, some of them learning disabilities, some of them physical disabilities. And we're just looking at their potential to become financially independent. So we look at the skills, life skills, livelihood projects that they may actually engage in. Because as you know, already it's difficult in Africa for people to be formally employed. But if they engage in livelihood projects, what you'd call income generating projects, it means they become self-employed. They can earn money and just live like everyone else.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hello, Mr. Kum. Good evening and kudos to your educative program. My regards to Mr. Kogolov, our Dean, and Ma Ampankeng Yafi, writing from Bangulan. I'm sure he's a member of the Baptist Convention out there in Bangulan. Now, Mr. Anko, why bringing this now?
Thank you very much, Leo. You know, the Cameroon Baptist Convention has been doing a lot of community activities, even though they run clinical issues, they run hospitals, but there is so much that's being done in the community. And during the course of working in the community, as far back as many years, even beginning with the leprosy, I think you know Cameroon Baptist Convention is one of those institutions that that has been taking care of leprosy, even at the time that nobody wanted to get closer to leprosy or to patients with leprosy. And in the event of that, they have been going to the community and discovering those cases and discovering that it's not the issue is not only leprosy. There are many other issues in the community. Children are going through a lot of challenges, especially with disability. And like Sarah and Dr. Shikwana already said, anybody can be disabled for one thing or the other. And we have realized this in the community. And we also realized that even as far as our community is concerned, we found out that when those people are discovered in the community, sometimes the caregivers or the relatives tend to hide. And you get to houses, you can actually find children there who are, because sometimes they consider like a taboo, they give all sorts of names. And those type of children, the staff of the CBC have been able to sort them out. And in the event of doing that, we actually discover that there is so much that the people who are working on that they're lacking. And that's why the people who used to work on that from the beginning, they were community-based rehabilitation workers. And so we also have discovered a shortage in their knowledge on how to take care of this. And so that's why we first developed a course on community-based rehabilitation, which the thought is that these people will be able to identify cases in the community with issues of rehabilitation and refer to the hospitals or to our clinics or to wherever they might need help. And in the event of doing that, we now come in with this aspect of occupational therapies, where we think that as far as when they come to hospitals and they begin being taken care of, we also find out that even though we're taking care and providing medication, but there are some who have some issues, some challenges that you might not meet them fully. But one other challenge that you would always want to meet is you want people to do what they like doing and what they want to do, even in the midst in the midst of their condition. And so we felt that in order to make life worth living, make life better for people with disabilities, so that even in the case where the physical challenges cannot be completely dealt with, they should be able to still attain some aspect of their life. They should be able to do what they like. We thought that occupational therapists would be the best person to be able to help this. That's why we brought in this cadre of training at this point in time, with the hope that after we have the people who are trained, they will now be able to prepare, like Dr. Mildred and Sarah said, they will also be able to work with caregivers and parents who have this kind of relatives and friends with this, so that they would be able to know how to take care of them. So that is the background from where we are thinking that we thought that we should bring in the occupational therapists at this time. There are several other courses that are related to rehabilitation which we are actually carrying on, and we are all looking forward to seeing that life is made worth living.
We're talking about the Baptist School of Public Health. You are introducing this course because you want students to come and learn about it. How acute is the issue of occupational therapy in the case of a nation like Cameroon?
Well, before maybe I should ask Mildred, who was
talked about it.
Yes,
she moved to Douala, she moved to Yaoundé
and to Bingo,
and discovered that there was need. Yes, but why have we not had this before now? Is it that we neglected or did not recognize the importance of this aspect in our health sector?
No, truly speaking, we could not have had it now. We could not have it before now, because before now there's been a lot of work going on in the community, and going on the community, and when you go out on the community and discover things, it takes time also to make public. But what has actually caused awareness now is that within the past few years, CBC was able to work together with Liliana Foundation to do a survey in the country and discover that there was so much that is required to be done for people with rehabilitation, and in that way they looked at a way and see that the way to help them maybe is to bring in these trainings, because we found out that there is so much that they require to help them, but the manpower to take care of them is so limited. And so that is why it has to come in. It was just not that it was not there, it probably was not there, but people's minds were not open, and now people are beginning to get open to it, and many more cases are being identified.
Many more cases are being identified in it. For a student who is coming to do occupational therapy in this school, Miss Sarah Natalia Matovu, who is an occupational therapist from Uganda, you're coming to study this to train, and the jobs are readily available.
Actually, I think there is an overwhelming, they'll have quite a lot to do, because the need is very great. In the communities, I already explained some examples of areas where we work. So occupational therapists won't just be in the hospitals, but they will be in the community. And another thing is we don't work alone. We work with all the other healthcare providers, whether it's doctors, nurses, social workers, chaplains, traditional healers. Wherever the patients are is where we go, whether they're in the community, in the school, as Dr. Chikwana mentioned, is where we go. So the need is so great, and the work is quite a lot. So there are, in terms of work for the occupational therapists to do in Cameroon, for a population of quite a number of people. I think you're 28 million, but the estimate of people with disabilities already is quite high from the last census. So the need is already so great in terms of education of communities regarding disability, in terms of equipping families to appreciate that even people with disabilities have a purpose in life and they can contribute productively to society. It's going to take quite a large force of people to do it. So the need is quite big.
Yes, the need is quite big, but do you think Cameroonians are aware of the fact that they need occupational therapists, or we need to do a lot of education? We have so many persons, if we were to go through cases of autism, brain injuries, and diabetes, and a host of others. Maybe many persons are dying because we do not know that these persons need specialists to handle them. Doctor?
Yes, you're right. I think
because what we have observed is once we discover that either somebody who was sick, our relative who was sick, or got involved in an accident and cannot cope with life, the tendency is just to keep them at home and we manage them till they give up with life, without knowing that actually after having an accident or after recovering from an illness, there is need for a further training or preparation to face life.
Yeah, I would say culturally as Africans, we take care of each other very well when there's a problem, either sickness or disability. So that's actually disabling in a way, because as occupational therapists, we're saying we still want you to be able to do whatever you can despite that disability. So I think if we create awareness in the community about what occupational therapy is all about, we are going to see more and more people actually coming to seek the service. Already from the little awareness campaign that we've started in the CBC facilities, we are starting to get people like referring their relatives whom they'd sort of given up on, and now they are seeing that there could be an opportunity here through occupational therapy. So I'm just thinking, once the word gets round that there is occupational therapy which can transform lives and enable people to do the best they can in whatever conditions they are in, then we are likely to have more and more clients and continue to make a difference. And I'm sure if one client is satisfied, they will tell the next. So we're going to have more and more people referring each other to actually access our services.
Let me just add to Leo that truly, like you say, this is a real new concept, even in the era of training, because each time we talk about an occupational therapist, training of occupational therapists, a lot of people don't just even understand what we are talking about. So it's actually a new concept, and we agree, because we try to look around the country to actually find whether there are even occupational therapists. We've not been able to find that much. That's why we have to go.
So it is the occupational therapists are rare in Cameroon,
really
which means that it is a virgin area worth exploiting. Which means that many persons, instead of just saying that I want to do nursing, I want to do this is an opportunity to get into occupational therapy, because so many persons are out there needing your services.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So, and we believe that by opening up, a lot of people will get to understand this. So until you even have people understand that there's a training related to that, you will discover that they might even have cases that can benefit from those services, and they may not even know. So our hope is that as the training begins, because we are going to begin soon, and in fact we already said receiving applications, and we hope that by the time the first graduate go through a 4-year program.
So the opportunities are there, please, because we don't have enough occupational therapists in Cameroon. If you have a child who wants to go to university or to further her education, his or her education in the domain of health, this is also an unexploited area. There are so many opportunities for occupational therapists, but there is a physical and occupational therapist. There's physical therapist. What's the difference? What's the difference between, I don't know, who would take this?
Okay. They are called physiotherapists or physical therapists. Their emphasis is on the person's body. So their role is to make sure that they help improve on the person's, whether it's the walking or the sitting. People who suffer back pain, So what they make sure they do is to do exercises, equip the families on how to do the exercises, and also in terms of they have so many other techniques they'll use, but their focus is on the physical, while the occupational therapist does not just do the physical aspect, but they also work on mental health component, which a physiotherapist does not work on. That's the biggest difference I would make. And the way we work is also different, because we don't use exercises. We use the very activities people do in their home. If it's a mother who got a stroke and her arm is weak, but she has to cook for her household, then we see how we can equip her. Does she need her arm strengthened? What can she do to help her continue to cook for her family and do the things that she was doing normally for the children without feeling like she has lost meaning or her purpose in life? As you mentioned, that many times we'll keep our families because we know they are not well and we sympathize with them. Probably most times we'll let them sit in the house the whole day and we'll help them with the chores. But now, as an occupational therapist, regardless of the person having one arm, one leg, or even a mental illness, we still say this person can contribute to society. They can have a meaningful life in this community, but also changing the mindsets of the household and of the community at large. That's why I said we don't work on our own. We are working with the CBR workers, with rehabilitation technicians, with the doctors. Mr. Nkuo made it clear that it's a new profession, so there is a lot of groundwork to cover in terms of educating the health professionals themselves, because it's, for some, it's a new concept. But remember, when people go to the hospital, they'll first go to the doctor or to the nurse, and the nurse or doctor have to know what is it that we offer as other health professionals in order to refer them. So there's a lot of groundwork to cover, whether it's in the health sector, education sector, and all the other sectors. But there's a lot of work that we can actually do and contribute to the lives of Cameroonians.
Okay, occupational therapists and those looking to enter the field can expect generous compensation and job growth over the coming years. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, employment for occupational therapists is expected to grow by 14% from 2001 to 2031, much faster than the average for all occupations. This change equates to roughly 100 more jobs in the field through the next decade. We get this. It means that many more persons in this domain are going to be needed. What would account for this growing need for occupational therapists, yet advantage not taken in African and in the Cameroonian context?
I think in countries where occupational therapy is well known, people are really accessing the service. So those statistics, I think they these
for
are
the Western world, not for Africa.
Yes. So in the Western world, you find that like there is a growing population of the elderly, and a lot of them would need assistance to stay alone and still be able to do the things that they were doing when they were younger. So you find that in the Western world, a lot of occupational therapists are working with older adults, and also they've explored other avenues that are not yet explored here in Africa. For example, you find that some companies will just have wellness programs. That means you are taking care of the mental well-being of your employees before they even get sick. So there is an opportunity for occupational therapy there. So outside Africa, occupational therapy has expanded to places where we can never imagine to work. But here in Africa, it's still limited really to the clinical setting, the hospital setting, a few in the prisons and the community, and some in developmental programs. But elsewhere, OTs have really expanded their prospects and are doing wonders in new places.
Okay, I would read this here. You guys are the experts. You elaborate on what the experts are saying. Occupational therapy is highly rewarding. work that is growing in demand as the healthcare landscape continues to evolve. For those considering a career in the medical field but are unsure of the direction they should allow, occupational therapy can be a valuable opportunity. Roberts, okay? The biggest difference between occupational therapy and many other healthcare professions is that we do with people, not to people. We do with people and not with, we do not do to people. Mm-hmm. We are all about helping people live life to the fullest, regardless of what their life is like or who they are. Mm-hmm. Yes. Is that what you guys are?
Yes, yes, it is. I like the statement that we deal with the people, not to the people, because I think people know most health professionals, and of course each one has a unique role that they play. If they need to go to a surgeon, he will work on the problem. If they need to go to a nurse, she'll also help. So for us, the patient is at the center of the treatment. They control the direction in which we manage them. So for example, we go to a household and there is a father who got a stroke. We'll ask him, what is it that you would want us to do for you? What do you want to achieve? Then we'll have a discussion with the family and find he needs to tell us how we can be of service to him. That's why we are not doing to them, but for them. Then they direct the course of treatment. If he has a stroke and his arm is weak, and he's saying, well, I want to be able to go back to the garden and dig as I used to. So we begin to make a plan with the father and say, well, how best can he actually go back to dig? How much energy does he have in his arm? What other activities is he doing in the household? Can he still hold the hoe? How much energy will he need to cover? I don't know how big his field is within a period of time. So we set realistic goals. And why I emphasize their realistic goals, because everyone wants their family member or their friend to get well, to return back to the original state. But sometimes it's possible, sometimes it's not. So when I say realistic, after we assess, we agree with the patient on what we need to achieve, what they want to achieve, and we set both short or long-term goals within a period of time. So if they consistently do as we both agreed, then they can achieve those goals. Sometimes it takes a long period of time. It's never a guarantee. Rehabilitation in general is an ongoing process. So for some people it will be short, for some people it will be long, for some people it will be a lifetime of rehabilitation, but still they can achieve those small goals. If he feels he can no longer hold the hoe, we can make adaptations to the hoe. Does he need a longer hoe? Does he need a strap to the hoe so that he can hold it and be able to dig? How much more can he dig? Maybe he should change the terrain he's in, or we should make changes to the terrain he's in. So it's always working with the available resources, and that's the beauty of occupational therapy, because it's highly affordable. We are not looking for sophisticated equipment or gadgets. Those are all good things, but within our African context, we know they are not affordable to many. So we are focusing on what's affordable in their household, how they can still be able to function in their household with the resources that they have that are available to them.
Okay. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I just want to say hooray to the Cameroon Baptist Convention for their wonderful work they are doing with regards to persons with disabilities. You make them inclusive in the society so that they know that disability is not inability. Greetings to your guest, Chene Pius is writing from Mambu in Bafut, that is in Mezam Division of the Northwest region. Yes, how lucrative is this domain? Occupational therapy. Are you guys very rich? Very important now.
That's a good word. I would say if you are aided to get rich, then it's the wrong profession for you. So I think personally,
it should be a call.
Yeah, it's a call.
Okay.
And then also you also have to have that client at the center of your practice, because if you are all about making money, then you'll be milking them of the very little resources they have. But I think what's more rewarding in this profession is how you transform lives, how you make people be able to do what they were not able to do. So it's not so much about the money, but it's about the life-changing opportunities you provide to people with disabilities. I think at the end of the day, life is not all about money. So we are not rich in terms of having money, but we are rich in other in other ways, because we each time you transform a life, that's a reward.
Doctor.
Yes.
And I remember, Leo, when
Doctor, excuse me. We don't have occupational therapists in Cameroon. Except you can tell me, you can cite me 10 names. Occupational therapists in Cameroon, you have 10. So if they're not there, it means that the terrain is virgin.
Yes, yes.
So why should you not be well paid for what you're doing?
All right. So I would say we are well paid, depending on where you are.
but the other part of it, Leo, is who will pay? Because most of the people you are working with, they either have situations that sometimes have actually kept them quite low.
But is that not also the problem we have in Africa, where this same person will tell you I don't have money, can fly to Nigeria to a pastor, to a man of God, and that will cost a lot of money, can go to a traditional doctor, in the case of you guys, they call it the sangomas, who ask for so much money. It's true, and they'll pay.
Yes.
Yes. True. So when you see where are these guys going to have money, tell them today that there is a man of God that will pray on you, wherever they will pay the flight ticket because they want to get healed. If they are to tell them that there is one man of God in Oku today, that if you give 5 cows and this, they will do sacrifices and you get healed. They will provide the money. Yes, but when you give this impression that, where is the money coming from? Are we not also justifying why we are where we are in Africa?
Well, we're also trying to limit this aspect of manipulation. You know, when you talk about they want to go.
Yeah, but they will look for the money and they will come for it. But this is something, because occupational therapy, from what I have gathered since I started reading about it, means that if you had an accident and you became incapacitated to some level, the occupational therapist helps you to follow up with life after your accident. If you were sick and you got an issue with following up with life, the occupational therapist helps you to meet up, that is, complement with the handicap you find yourself in.
Yes.
Can you pay for that, Mr. Ko? Can you actually pay for that?
You can't. I mean, the background from where I was saying that sometimes they have challenges is that most of the time the person you are working with is actually the one that is involved. You know, the issue where you have to pay for your health as an individual here in most of our countries. And so if you can't pay, I remember the situation of a case that Sarah shared the other time, where a case study where he worked with a journalist who had a stroke and was not able to do any other thing, but he was interested in reading newspapers, but he couldn't flip the papers. And so Sarah worked with him to a point where he was able to.
If this guy was sure that if he went to see Bushiri and that Bushiri was going to heal him, I tell you, I bet you, the family will raise money to go to take him to Bushiri.
But again, this is what of the activities that occupational therapists are going to do. Especially, remember I told you that we are conducting a lot of trainings that are related, a few other trainings that are connected to this rehabilitation. I talked about the community-based rehabilitation, I talked about the rehabilitation technician, and now the physical therapy. All these are surround issues to do with disabilities, and in the event of doing that, education also goes on to let people know that this condition where you think that can be handled somewhere else by another way, it can maybe through other
At a moderate
miscellaneous
cost, yeah?
Yes, so we will let them know this. So one of the things I would rather say, when people go to look for what they go to look for, sometimes there's a bit of ignorance. And we also hope that by the time we start impacting a lot of knowledge on people concerning occupational therapists, concerning rehabilitation technicians, concerning those, then they would also know that, I might not just, I mean, I can be helped, not by some other person, but just by walking through.
And the solution is around.
Yes. So
Okay. Good evening to you, Mr. Leonard. Occupational therapist is highly needed in Cameroon. I doubt if Cameroon even has one occupational therapist. This is a rare opportunity for Cameroonians to apply and get employed. As a physiotherapist, after rehabilitating patients, we still have difficulties in integrating the patients into activities of daily living. Let people apply and fill the gap through occupational therapy. I have personally worked with Dr. Mildred, and I can test occupational therapy is highly needed in Cameroon. It's rewarding. It's a rewarding profession. Congrats to you, Dr. Mildred and team. Njingani Lovet Bernui, physiotherapist. Dr. Mildred is here?
yes, that's the Mildred. Chikwana Mildred.
Chikwana
I
Mildred.
see. I see. Okay. Yes, that's somebody who has worked with you.
Yeah.
But I want us to look at Janka is writing from Mutengene. It says, good evening, Mr. Liu. I'm Janka from Mutengene. I like the program. Greetings, okay. But there are parents who, before now, did not know about occupational therapist. How long does it take to train one person?
Well, the program that we're going to begin in August is going to be a degree program that's with honors. That's going to go for 4 years, and then you come up with a degree program. But then I know that as we're growing up as Baptist Club of Public Health, we'll reach to a certain level where we can take to masters, and why not PhD? Dr. Mildred has a PhD in occupational therapy. So I mean, we are thinking that someday we'll reach that level.
Okay. So the opportunities are there. How would such a training look like? There is theory and practicals, where are practicals going to be done?
Oh, practicals, we have quite a number of sites, whether it's in the hospitals, in the communities, and then we have partner organizations like those working with persons with disabilities. So the areas for practicals or placements are just enormous, because you know that the Cameroon Baptist Convention has a series of sites all over the country. So in terms of practicals, there are so many that we can actually do in several areas. Another key factor in terms of occupational therapy that the viewers need to know is that this program has been accredited and also approved by our World Federation of Occupational Therapists, which oversees all educational programs across the entire world. So you find that this program will give any occupational therapist who trains in Cameroon as much leverage as me or Dr. Chikwana, because I mean, we are not Cameroonian, but we are here to serve the people of Cameroon with the same knowledge and skills, but we all acquired it from different countries. So that's the beauty of this program, because it's recognized by our World Federation. It means that people can practice across the entire world with the same knowledge and skills.
Okay, people can acquire the same knowledge and skills. The program, how intense? You say it is 4 years for a degree program?
Yes.
4 years.
4 years.
4 years.
4 years.
Yes, but the quality of the persons who are training, because we need competent persons. We don't want charlatans who are going out there to rather beat persons who have disabilities who are going to be scolding at them. Where are we getting the qualified personnel to train occupational therapists in the Baptist School of Public Health?
All right, as you've heard, I'm from Zimbabwe. So when
you're from Zimbabwe,
yes,
she's from Uganda.
Yes. So the Baptist School of Public Health has signed an MOU with the University of Zimbabwe, so that they will be assisted in getting the skilled personnel who have experience in training until such a time Cameroon has its own occupational therapists who are experienced and are also trained as OT educators. So for the first batch, we have to assure them that they are getting the best from Africa, because our team from the University of Zimbabwe, it's a team of 6 educators, and all of them have doctorates in occupational therapy in the different practice areas. Then we also have Sarah, and like we said, this program is already accredited by the World Federation of Occupational Therapy, which means we can actually rope in colleagues from different countries to also assist with teaching as part-time lecturers. So it's really well networked, and that's the beauty of being accredited by the World Federation of Occupational Therapy, because they also give you the support that you need to train your graduates.
This person says, good evening, Mr. Liu. I'm Eugene from Bamenda, GRA. I'm 30 years. Brain tumor has caused me paralysis. I choose to do exercise my own way because I can't afford for the cost of operation. Hope I'm on the right track. I'm a carpenter by profession. Eugene, what do we tell Eugene here? He says brain tumor has caused him not to be able to, but that he's doing exercise by his own because he cannot do operation. Difficult situation?
It is a difficult situation, but we would need to understand a bit more about Eugene's condition, because if he says paralysis, we don't know if it's paralysis of one arm, of his lower legs, and if he says he's a carpenter, I know then that's usage of a lot of his hands, because you can still do carpentry while seated. So I'm assuming that it's his arms that are probably, or one arm that has paralysis. So, and he's saying he's doing exercises his own way, so probably he has had contact with a physiotherapist. But now that I think he knows there is access to these services, he can still go back to a physiotherapy department who can refer him to us, and we can do a much more detailed assessment and see how best to enable him to carry out his carpentry work. But we'll need to assess first before we give any further advice.
Miss Sarah, Natalia, and Dr. Chukwanya, Mildred, many persons may be watching us who are disabled, who are victims of accidents.
Yes.
Who are those that should seek your services, and how can you help them? Practically speaking, you come in and then she comes in also, and how do they get to you?
Okay. Currently, the best way they can get to us is through our physiotherapy colleagues, because physiotherapy has been set up in this country over the years. But we work quite closely with physiotherapists, with doctors, nurses. But if they can get access to physiotherapy departments or hospitals, then we have the community-based rehabilitation workers. These colleagues of ours can actually get them to us. I know currently it's just the 2 of us, but at least we know we can find ways of, if it's well organized through our colleagues, of educating them about their condition, and also being able to assess and make a plan to know how best we can enable them achieve their goals.
And let me just also add that for the time that they're here, Sarah and Mildred, I know their main focus this term is around training, and because they are quite limited, that's why they want to work connecting with the physiotherapists in the different facilities where they are, where they might be able to provide advice to tell the physiotherapist what to can tell them. Because if you want to open chances for all those who need help to come to them, I think they will not have time, they will not be able to to achieve that. So but the hope is that since they are doing trainings, in the next few years they will have many more, they will have a pool of people that can be able to attend to these people.
Yeah, but what of persons like Mr. Eugene who is in Bamenda, who is in difficulty? Are you telling Mr. Eugene to wait until when we have so many persons to be able to attend to them?
Well, like Sarah said, Mr. Eugene is in Bamenda, and We have a physiotherapy.
What we are talking about occupational therapy, because it is a field that is still virgin in Cameroon. Please just make a request for Mr. Nko's number. He is the Dean of Studies of the Baptist School of Public Health out there in Mutanga. Faku Division Southwest Region, I'll share his number with you. Good evening to you. So I'll share his number so that through him you can get to either Dr. Kwanya, Mildred, or Ms. Sarah Natalia.
And we operate with the policies of the land, with the government policies, and to say that they're mostly Baptist is not true. So maybe he needs to rethink, because for the Baptist School of Public Health, we already have a lot of courses running on, and these courses are run by people from different areas, different denominations, some who are not even Christians, Muslims and all that. Even in many of our hospitals, we have our nurses who are Muslims. So to say that it is only for Baptists, I'm not sure how much he did his assessment.
Hello, I'm listening from Bamenda. Please, I would like to know the qualifications needed to get enrolled in the school. Yes. Yeah,
I for the advertisement or the publicity that we put forth, we expect people with a science background. We expect they should be able to have at least 2 science subjects: biology, chemistry, Mildred.
Yes, biology, chemistry, physics, or mathematics.
Yes.
And then any 3 from those 4 will do.
So at least you have an advanced level.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we are also talking about taking care of, let's look at mental issues.
Yes.
Yes. How do you handle such cases? Because we've been talking about mostly persons who are paralyzed and autism. Yes. Do you handle mental issues?
Yes, we handle mental issues, and if you look deeper, as you were doing your research, I'm sure you also found that OT started in mental health. So when it comes to mental health, really, we said, we look at our clients holistically. So we look at the condition, how it can be treated medically, and after you're stabilized on your medication, what then we can be able to achieve with you in terms of your overall function. So it means it's possible for someone with a mental health condition, with mental illness, to actually go back to normal function and come to work. Like if you have depression, it's still a mental health problem. And it means if we identify whatever is triggering that depression, it could be in the workplace, it could be in the home, it could be in the society, and we deal with that, then you are able to come to work and still function at your optimal, because we've sort of taken care of the causes of depression or the triggers of depression in your life. So we deal with patients with mental illness at different levels, and depending on how serious the mental illness is, it's also possible for them to just have normal lives like people without mental illness.
Okay, it's possible to have that is persons with mental issues, you work with them, and they're like persons without mental illness?
Yes, I'll give you an example. When I was in Bamenda, there is one case that we were managing together with mental health nurses. And for this patient, or for this client, we saw that what was important for them is to look presentable. So we went in to train the caregivers how they can teach proper self-care, so that when we come into that household, we will not know who has a mental illness, because already they are neglected, and that sort of points to them as the one with the mental illness. But if all of us are dressed up and we're just seated in the family room, no one can pick me if I'm just dressed as you and I. So we need to take care of the basic things first, your self-care, and then we also need to remove the stigma within the family. I'm sure most African families would sort of ascribe mental illness to witchcraft as having spiritual causes. So that means people will go round and round before they actually come to the hospital to seek help. So sometimes it means that they're presenting late, and already the mental condition has sort of worsened. So it will actually take a longer time to stabilize that patient on medication. But once the client is stabilized, there's a lot we can do with them in terms of life skills, going back to work, teaching them to know their condition well enough to manage it before it even makes them
what you're saying is that we have so many persons with mental issues out there looked upon as mad persons because we neglected treating them early enough.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So many lives would have been spared there or taken care of if we did not first accuse think that is spiritual but went for medical attention.
Yes.
It is also here that I'm hearing about this because as I it's like a typical African.
No, Leo, what Dr. Mildred said is quite important because I mean my background is nursing, and I remember during the time that I used to see patients, and there's a particular condition, this is syphilis. Sometimes it gets right to the brain and cause people to behave have a mental issue, and when they start behaving, nobody does those assessment. And during my time that I worked as a nurse, I remember there was actually a time where there was a patient there where they actually struggled with, and in the events of doing investigation, we discovered that the patient was having syphilis that has been there for quite some time and went to the brain, and they took some time, and when they treated, it's a treatable condition, and when it was treated, the patient got well. So sometimes the attribution that we give to mental mental conditions is not actually true.
Yes.
Okay, not everybody who is mad is actually bewitched, please, my brothers and sisters. Just this one says my left hand and left leg is inactive. This is just one of the exercises I'm using crutches. Eugene is still writing from Bamenda. Please just get to them. They'll help you. Please, Mr. Liu, ask the doctors if the course can be done online. Judith is writing from Bafousan Baptist Hospital. Can the course be done online?
Unfortunately, it's not possible to practice, to train online because our skills are hands-on. If I have to teach you counseling skills, I need to not only be talking to you, I also need to be reading your non-verbal language. So there is more to OT than just reading books to pass, but you also need to learn to connect with people. You also need to practice some of the skills, sometimes on each other, before you actually start seeing patients. So unfortunately, this type of professional training will not be able to run online.
Okay. Yeah. This one says, please, Mr. Leo, can I have the dean's contact? Okay. Mr. Nko, I'll send you Mr. Nko's number. Good evening, Mr. Leo. I'm Agbo, writing from Yaoundé. I'm 34 years old. I have been blind for 3 years now. I would like to have Dr. Mildred's number. Mr. Agbo, I'm sending you Mr. Nko's number. Just write to Mr. Nko, and then he will give you Dr. Mildred's number, because myself have not been privileged to have her number. So
I say he's in Bafousan, right? He's in Bafousan? Yaoundé. Well, yeah. I mean, the CBC Health Services is spotted all over the national territory. So even if you are not able to get in contact with us and you get to our hospitals, and many of these hospitals have physiotherapists. So when you get to that unit, you can also be, and all our hospitals know that, they know what we are doing as far as training is concerned. They know that we have occupational therapists around, and by the time occupational therapists will go in, our different hospitals will know. And so don't get there and talk and tell them your needs, and they will see, probably there may be something that they can be able to help just there. Because we realize that sometimes when you are looking for specialists, it may be something that can be helped by physiotherapists or social workers, and we have them in many of our health facilities in Yaoundé. You go to Tukebe, go to Kondom, go to Kwabang. This is where we have a health facility. But
somebody wrote about qualification to do this program. Did we answer the question?
Yes.
We said the qualification, you have to science background with at least 2 A-level. Science.
2 A-levels?
Yes.
So if you're watching us, you have 2 A-levels?
Yes, science. 2 A-level. You have an A-level with at least 2 papers in sciences. And we name chemistry, physics, biology, maths, or any of those, as long as you have 2 of them.
Yes, but where is the place of spirituality in this? Because we are talking about something that is beyond what we can easily comprehend. Strokes may come from spiritual issues, and Mental issues may also come from spiritual issues. Some accidents could be caused from spiritual issues. And we're talking about the occupational. Is there some spiritual aspect? Good evening to you, my brother and friend, Prophet Chris Veuse, who of Miracle Center out there in Bonabo, out here touching so many lives. But I want us to look at the spiritual aspect. We're talking about holistic treatment here. Yes, maybe the physiotherapist has worked with the patient, then now you guys occupational, you want to train. Where is the spirituality in it?
I think that's a really good angle, because when you say holistic, true that the spiritual aspect comes in. So yes, we'll meet people with different religious backgrounds, or even non-religious backgrounds, whatever you want to call them, or who practice traditional medicine. So healthcare or occupational therapy does not limit the kind of patients that we see, because our goal is to make sure that we make them independent. So you find that sometimes, depending on the person's spirituality, it may help us understand and be able to enable them to do the things that they want to do, or sometimes it can also inhibit, depending on the person's belief system. I'll give an example. We had an opportunity to have a patient who had cancer, but it was in his foot. So he used to tie it with a piece of cloth and walk around, but he was in so much pain, and also he was not able to, interestingly, he was a traditional healer. He was not able to go and perform or give a service to his patients. So he came to us for assistance and said, I need to be able to, he didn't like the idea of using crutches to walk around, because then his patients would think he's incompetent. Yes, because you're the traditional healer, but you're hopping around with crutches. So he was like, is there another alternative for you to fix my foot without me using crutches? So we had to have a more detailed discussion and say, but why? Because the crutches help you move from point A to point B. Then he said, well, you see, certain ancestors or medicine, he couldn't reveal his information, but he felt he was better off at least crawling in the house or hopping around than using crutches. So already his spirituality or his belief system was already going to cause him to be more disabled, or disabling to him doing his natural practice, because he felt like having crutches inhibits the spirits, I don't know, and what else that he does. So spirituality is key for every single living human being. But when we come in as professions, we are giving you options of other alternatives, because whether they have seen a pastor to pray for them, we are not against people practicing their belief systems. It is healthy for people to have a relationship with God. But if that then hinders our delivery of service, it is their choice as well. If they feel that the occupational therapist can help them, then we are happy to help them. But also if they feel like we are not doing what they want, then it is a free service and it's at their free will.
Okay. So, but now, the spiritual aspect, who handles them? You people, the two of you, or you bring pastors? Like my friend, Pastor Chris Veuse, who is very good at doing this spiritual aspects. Oh, okay, the CBC has pastors.
Yes, I was going to say that when you talk about holistic care, the CBC health services in their different health facilities, they have people who call them chaplains.
Okay.
And they work with those spiritual aspects. We also have social workers
Yes.
that are in our hospitals. So and the chaplains do a lot of assessment to actually find out what actually might be the issue, and they will also refer when it's beyond their competence. And the social workers as well do a lot of investigation. Even the mental health nurses, they are there, they do a lot of those investigations to find out. So those we can definitely say that those spiritual issues can be dealt with. But again, like Sarah said, each time you have your spiritual stand that is like it's going to impede with the services that are provided to you, then it is your choice.
Okay, it is. Yeah, you want to?
Yeah, maybe
that?
to add on to that, you know, usually when we are managing clients with substance use disorders, spirituality is key, because we are saying connect to whatever higher being you believe in and ask for power to say no to drugs from that higher being. So it goes beyond just God. It's connecting to whatever it is that you believe in. So I'm coming in from that angle, because we also don't want people who are not Christians to think that we are not connecting with their higher beings. So we sort of embrace the diversity in what people believe in and who their higher powers are. And it's key for us, for our clients, to then connect to those higher beings, just to get hope to be able to do the things they are not able to do.
Okay. So, if you want to, you're looking for an opportunity to get employed and actually be of use to the community, please, this is an opportunity for you. Good evening. Mr. Elliot, please, where is the school, and can I have the school phone number? Thanks. I'm Mr. Njumba, I'm writing from Douala. I'll send you Mr. Nko's number, but the school, again, persons would want to know where the school is located and how it operates.
Well, the Baptist School of Public Health is located in Motengeni on the way to Boya, just above the Motengeni main market. If you know the place they used to call former Plantekam, that is where the school is located, in that campus. And we provide a few other courses. For example, if you are going to look at those pictures as background, we do a course called Biomedical Engineering. Biomedical Engineering program is a program where we train, it's a 4-year degree program where we train technicians to be able to repair the different equipments that are used in the hospital. Again, it's connected to occupational therapies, because it can also manufacture equipment that can be used by patients who have issues to do with occupational therapy, or who have handicap issues. We also offer programs on management, health and social system management, and public health. We have a degree program in public health. It's actually an online program. That program, we are working together with the University of Kumba in Uganda. And we also have, I already talked to you about how we are offering a course on multi-skill rehabilitation technician, which is connected to occupational therapy. We are also offering courses on community-based rehabilitation, 2-year program. And besides, we also offer short courses as well. We have a short course on quality assurance and management, a short course on planning, monitoring, and evaluation, and also have an online short course on leadership, governance, and management. This year we will have to start a course on physical therapy technician. This is a course that is required. We expect to have people who have already studied physical therapy to a level. So you must be working, you must be practicing as a physical therapy assistant or somewhere level before you can qualify to go for this course. I think these are some of the courses that we run at the Baptist School of Public Health for now, but we have room that we're going to start many more courses in the days ahead. These are the ones that we're open for, and we are focusing here. Actually, we're receiving applications now for many of these courses.
Okay, you are receiving application. Doctor, are you guys residents here? A doctor from Zimbabwe and Miss Sarah from Uganda. Are you guys permanent here for the training, or you're just visiting?
No, I'll be visiting. I come and go, because remember, I still have to train my own in Zimbabwe. Okay. So I come. My employer will allow me to come as when I'm needed. Yeah. But Sarah is here longer.
Okay, Sarah. So you are there with the students?
Yes, I'm going to be here for a year or more, depending on the circumstances. But currently, I'm here for a year to start off with the training of the students.
Okay. What is the core difference between what you guys are doing with the nurses and the doctors?
The core difference.
Yes. Okay. The nurse and doctor works in the hospital, and then you people take over after?
Oh yes, that's the whole concept of rehabilitation, because I think the way the rehabilitation can also happen in the hospital setting, but it depends on, I'll give an example. After someone has had an injury and is on the ward, you find that the physiotherapist will go and start doing the exercises with the person. The occupational therapist will also come in and set up a home program with the patient and make a plan to go with the patient into the community to see how to help them be able to function fully while at home. So you find that the nature of our service can start in the hospital, go to the home, go to as far as this patient will go, whether they're a fisherman and we're on a boat, or they're a truck driver and we are looking at the truck, or they're a student and we are in the school. So we go where our patients' needs are, or where we need to help them be able to acquire back their necessary needs.
Okay. Hello, Mr. Leo. Greetings to all of you in the studio. Please, I will need the numbers to reach out to the school. I will send you Mr. Nko's number so that you can get to him and get ample information on what to do. This one says, please, Mr. Leo, where is the school located? Menge is writing from Kumba. Please, can you just get to Mr. Nko? The school is located in Mutengene.
Yes.
Yeah, but is there a structure? Do we have, I don't know.
I've tried to, thank you, Mr. Leo. I've tried to explain.
Former Plantekam in Mutengene.
Former Plantekam in Mutengene. I know for now we are using the structures that is in that local, in that campus. But within the next few years, we will be having.
They're moving to a permanent site.
A permanent site. But if you are going to come to the school there, it is located in Mutengene, in the former Plantekam. Former Plantekam is just above the Mutengene main market. If you leave Mutengene, you are going up to Boya. And if you are coming from Boya, immediately you pass finish mile 14, and you're just coming to Dipanda, and then the hill that you drop, you just find a signboard. In that signboard, there are several other activities, because within that campus, there are many other activities that are going on there. One of the key activities going on there is Central Pharmacy, which is one of the drug production and purchase units of the Cameroon Baptist Convention. So CBC actually has a unit there, a facility there that manufactures some drugs and also imports some and distribute to our different health facilities around the country. So that's one of the big activities that obtains in that place. Within that campus, you also have a national reference laboratory. You know, people do tests there. They do testing for, especially during the time that COVID was still there. If you're going out, you need a COVID test. You can actually be done there, and it's actually recognized nationally. Within that campus, there is also there is also the HIV activities coordinated from that area. So it has a number of activities that are going on, and the Baptist School of Public Health is one of them for now.
Okay, nobody doubts the fact that the Baptist Health Service has been doing an outstanding job as far as assisting Cameroonians. It's actually, but now we are talking about persons who may also be caught in accidents, cases of accidents. How do you help them? Environmental modification? You just study what handicap they find themselves in and apply and provide ways of meeting up with the lack?
All right, so it depends with the injury. So when we've seen the diagnosis, we've seen the patient, we make a functional assessment to see how far the injury is affecting their function, and our intervention will depend on what function has been affected. So for example, if we start with the environmental modifications, maybe they have an injury that have left them paralyzed. They are now wheelchair bound. So we need to make their house accessible to a wheelchair. We also need them to accept that they are now wheelchair bound. So it's beyond just the physical disability. It's also dealing with the depression that is associated with the loss of function. If they were a breadwinner, maybe also looking at how finances will be affected by a change of maybe occupation, depending on what they were doing before the accident. So we look at the different aspects of function that the accident would have affected, and we sort of deal with all those at an individual level. So it depends on what sort of injuries you have and what sort of functional problems you now have because of your injury. You might need to acquire a different car that you can't change the gears with your legs, but you're now using your arms. So the modifications will just depend on what really you want to achieve, and how much money or what resources you have at your disposal.
Okay. Good evening, Mr. Kum. I wish to know if the school offers distance learning. I'm writing from Bomenda. Just get to Mr. Nkoba. I'm not sure. They say it's not possible to do distance learning. You need to be there because of some practical issues. You need to also teach them.
Except we are doing a different course, like the online course that we're offering on leadership, governance, and management, which is a certificate course that goes for 3 months. That is the course that we got over to you online. The degree in public health as well, which for now we're offering in collaboration with a school in Uganda, so we can also offer that public health online.
Yes, but we are talking about the Baptist School of Public Health. What are the courses offered? What diplomas, what diplomas, and what certificates, what degrees are gotten from the school?
Okay, we offer a degree program on health and social systems management. It's a 3-year degree program that is offered. We offered in consultation with Malmi Institute of Health Sciences, but that course is actually validated by Manchester University in UK. It's an online course, but there will be time to time where you can come to the Baptist School of Public Health for one thing or the other. I already mentioned that we offer an online course on public health, which is a degree program, and it's ongoing now. It goes for 3 years, and so for those who have advanced level papers, I should have also said that as far as the health and social system management concerned, you have advanced level and you should be able to have a professional certificate for you to enroll in that program. We also have this course which I mentioned is connected to occupational therapist rehabilitation technician program, which it's a 2-year program that we also offered. That's one of the courses that we'll be running this year. And then we also offer a degree program on biomedical engineering technology. That course we are working signing a contract with an MOU with the University of Ngandri, which is going to validate that course for us. I already explained to you that biomedical engineering technology is an important course because when you look around Africa and Cameroon particularly, there are not many people who train to repair the equipment that we use in the hospital. That's why when you get to a hospitals, you find the slightest error in equipment is just packed. The Baptist School of Public Health has taken it to be able to train people who can be able to do those repairs. I know that training is done by University of Bamenda and also University of Ngandre. That's a little bit that I know where that training is taking place. But if you apply, it is a course that you need sciences. And then we also have a diploma program on community-based rehabilitation, which is a course that goes for 2 years. Again, it's a course that has a relationship with occupational therapy that we just talked about. Of course, this one that's not running now, which we have done before, we have a course on pharmaceutical production assistant. I already mentioned to you that we have a pharmaceutical production facility within the health services, so we do train people that can be able to work there and elsewhere as need might be. Of course, I talked about short courses. We have a short course on research methodology for those who want to study. It's a 3-month course. If you want to get involved into that, you can reach us, and then we'll be able to enroll you into that course. I think these are the courses that that are ongoing for now, but there are many others that when we bring forth, we hoping to start a course on nutrition, diploma in nutrition, and as the days unfold.
As the days unfold, what makes the Baptist School of Public Health distinct from the existing institutions in
Thank
Cameroon?
you very much, Leo. That question, I really like it. To say that one of the distinctions that we have as Baptist School of Public Health is that we try to bring in issues or causes that are unique, causes that are not commonly found around, or that they're even if they are found, the method of delivery should be able to be a little bit different from what we are doing. And so when you look at the courses that I've mentioned, a bulk of them are not courses like I've talked about rehabilitation technician. You will not find anywhere in Cameroon where you're training rehabilitation technician. Not even to talk about the occupational therapy that we just talked about. I'm not sure, but I think if they're doing occupational therapy, the trainings, the schools might be very rare. Talk less of this biomedical engineering program. The schools are trained biomedical engineering programs. I believe, I don't know many of them in Cameroon, but I think they're very rare. There are not many of them. When it comes to public health, we are doing it in Cameroon, but this one we are doing it online for now. And so the uniqueness of our school stands out that we try to bring in issues that are particular to the needs of the society, particular to Cameroonians, and things that are not done anywhere else. So that's what brings up our uniqueness as a school. Coupled with that, the fact that we're Christian organizations, but that means we not only mold the school, provide academics, but we also work to see if that you have good morals, that you got up, since we are working in the area of health, and better performance in health require morality. And so our school is also well known for that, because we begin our days with meditation and our prayers, and we also offer courses on Christian ethics, which is very helpful. So that's, in a nutshell, that what makes our school quite unique from others.
Okay. Miss Sarah Natalia, when is school starting for the occupational therapy course?
Well, the school will be starting in August, so that's why it's now open for applications, and applications close, I think, by end of July. So by then we have enough time to plan and know how many students that would need for, or have been enrolled for the course by then.
So you're starting from, it ends in July?
It ends in July, yes.
Okay.
That's
we have already, in fact, we have already started receiving applications.
Yes.
For the occupational therapies. We have received application now for physical therapy technician. We are yet to start receiving application for rehabilitation program. Also, we have started receiving application for biomedical engineering, which we hope to start in August as well. Either August or September, depending on
this occupational therapists. Where do they work? They work in hospitals, or you could become a personal occupational therapist and families hire you? How does it operate?
Okay, so occupational therapists can work in hospitals, they can work in schools, they can work in the community, they can work in prisons, they can work in disabled people's homes, if you have any, in the homes of the elderly. I don't know, do you have old people's homes here? I'm yet to come across those.
We don't have.
Yes, and they can
Old
also
people stay
work
with their families.
Yeah, they can.
So the families could recruit you.
Yes, so you can also become a private practitioner and just be operating your private practice and dealing with patients at that level as a private practitioner. Yes.
Okay, so occupational therapists, there are lots and lots of opportunities. The prisoners actually need assistance. Schools have children with disabilities, they need you. Companies also have some workers who are sick, who have had accidents, and they will need you to accompany them. and families in their respective homes also will need your services. So if you are confused on what to do in the domain of health, please try this occupational therapist, and the opportunities abound. Not only in Cameroon now.
Yes.
Yes, because the statistics I just gave here are showing that that is one of the most growing domain where the needs are increasing. Actually, it's occupational therapy. So you may train here in Cameroon, and then you work in South Africa, you work in Zimbabwe. Doctor may take you to a country, also Uganda.
Because we, like he said, we have already, even though we are still about beginning, we have already been approved by the World Federation of Occupational Therapy. So, which is absolutely a plus for us, because we know of few countries that are doing trainings of occupational therapy that are not known by the International Federation. In that way, it means that your operation will be limited to your country or to a sphere. But in our case, if you have training with us as occupational therapy, it means that you can operate anywhere in the world.
Okay, we can work everywhere in the world. I want to say we are going to be ending the program at this juncture. Ms. Sarah, do you have one last word for our televiewers this evening?
Yes, I would like to just encourage the people living with disabilities, whether it's visual, hearing, physical, or mental, please do seek assistance because the services are available through other health practitioners, and we can see how best to serve you. You are important and you're value to society, and you can contribute productively to our community. So please do go to the nearest health facility, especially the CBC health facilities, and you'll be directed accordingly. Thank you.
Okay. Doctor, one word for televiewers?
Thank you. I would like to invite applicants to this course and just say, if you're one of those persons who would want to have unlimited travel doing the same thing, then occupational therapy is the profession for you. Here I am in Cameroon doing the same things that I do in Zimbabwe.
Isako, one last word to those who are watching
on
how to come to your school.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Leo. It's a privilege to say that I've already listed a number of courses that I will actually expecting application for. If you are not able to enroll for a public health program, you should enroll for the health and social management program. If you are not able to do that, you can enroll for a CBR program. You can enroll for a rehabilitation technician program. You can enroll for a better still, I will request candidates to enroll for a biomedical engineering program, because it's one of those programs that pays, one of those programs that you have to employ yourself. People, in fact, if people are looking for money, I really think that you should enroll for biomedical engineering program, because the people, even if you don't, they are self-employed. Once they get the training, you know, wherever you can be hired to work in different places, and they are able to manufacture the other equipments and sell. So one of the, I guarantee that this is one of the courses which is hands-on, which is where if you have children, you have people or relatives get enrolled in the biomedical engineering program, they no regret. And if you cannot do for any of these, at least enroll in our online program, leadership management, which is short courses. Thank you.
Margaret, writing from Bamenda, said, what about someone who has done clinical counseling? How do we fit in the training? Clinical counseling?
Do you mean they want to come in using clinical counseling as entry into occupational therapy? If they have a science background, then that will give them an advantage, maybe in just one aspect of practice. But they are welcome to come if they fulfill the other entry requirements.
Okay, Peter, writing from Limbe, says, good evening, Mr. Kum. Good evening to your wonderful panelists. Just a question, please, to the panelist members. I wish to ask that do we also need a church membership card and recommendations from pastors to apply for the schools, as has been the case with applying for jobs with the Baptists as well?
No, in this case, usually when we recruit, we're asking people to work with us. We ask for membership cards to be able to determine their stand. I mean, we can work with them in the area of spirituality and morality. But when it comes to a school like this, we don't need that, because we are training you, and then after that you can go looking for where to work. And I mean, that's not one of our documents. We might not be asking membership card, but what is critical for us is to ensure that we have the required papers, academic papers that are needed. Thank you.
Good evening to you in the studio. I love your questions, Mr. Leo. Thank you. Porongam is writing from Lycom. We want to thank all of you who came all the way from Mutengene, Fako Division, Tiko Subdivision of the Southwest Region of Cameroon to be part of this edition of Prime R. We also want to thank all of you who took part in watching the program, especially those who sent text messages. And to the production team, Eli and Desmond, we are exceptionally grateful to you. Stay blessed. Bye-bye.